So I know what all of you are thinking. What kind of game can you make about Iron Man 2 because he has barely any action scenes and all? The solution,
Tio, what are you
no, the
talking
solution for the
about?
studio was to say, fuck this, we're making a sequel to the movie, despite calling it Iron Man 2. I'm not even kidding. This is our first Type C video game. Well, technically speaking, Terminator Salvation was, but for this particular
Also,
one
Theo,
of
Alt 2003 too.
yeah, that too. My bad. But still, for this MCU run,
Oh,
it's again a Type C, an official sequel to the storyline of the movie, and
Well,
I would have to say it's
probably better. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the better idea. It was still done by the previous team, which now was called, I think, Sega San Francisco or something. I'll check in the meantime. But this was the last game that they made and was rushed out the windows because the studio was closed by Sega just before release of this one. So it was their swan song. Mind you, it's better than the first Iron Man game, but still not a good game overall.
I mean,
Yeah.
to say this as a positive, but no Robert Downey Jr.
No,
Well-
you have Eric Loomis voicing Iron Man. The actors who come back from the movie are Don Cheadle, War Machine, Tony, or Rhodes, sorry, Rhodes, and Samuel L. Jackson for Nick Fury. Yes, S.H.I.E.L.D. actually
Excellent.
shows up in this game.
And those two are pretty good voice actors who have shown that they can do very good. Personally, my favorite role for Don Cheadle was when he played Donald Duck.
He did.
Oh, you don't know?
I guess it's in the new DuckTales show. I still have to catch up.
Yes, but the circumstances are quite interesting.
That's
Hey,
just it. Don't worry, Theo. Tony and Sam was in the show. It's just that there's something quite interesting that happens. in
Okay,
season one.
so well,
Surprisingly
so
enough, we're not starting in, well, sorta, we're starting in medias res, but we'll immediately catch up onto this.
okay, one thing about this game, I'll give Eric Loomis credit. He manages to do a pretty good Robert Downey Jr. impression in this game.
That animation looked sprite-based. What the hell was it?
That's one thing about this game.
I mean, I love my sprites, but that looked out of place in this game.
Yeah.
Let's just say this game has trouble deciding what it wants to be art style-wise.
And I can already tell from the quality of the textures that this is yet another game that was made for the Wii and upscaled to the other consoles.
Yeah.
Which, you know, doesn't have to be a bad thing, but a lot of people just choose to do that to take the easy way out.
Anyway, we get Tony Stark recording for his personal YouTube vlog channel.
Save the world, change the world.
Again, Eric Loomis does a pretty good Robert Downey Jr. impression. If I didn't know better, I'd almost think this were Robert
Also,
Downey Jr.
No shade on the fucking font. It's distracting when you have white on the background.
Yeah, again, for as much as they improve the voice
but hey,
acting,
at least there's subtitles at all.
that's the
White were.
that is the problem. For as much as they improve the voice acting, it looks like they decreased on the look of the animations. Like, I hate to say it, but this looks even more lazy than the first Iron Man game. At least that had shading in it.
Oh, the Roxxon Corporation. Interesting.
Also, subtitles for most video games are absolute garbage anyway.
But yeah, interesting that he's talking about the Roxxon, but I will explain more when we'll get to the gameplay, since it will be a bit more.
So,
But yeah, sometime, I forgot how much, but some time has passed from the events of the Iron Man 2, the Iron Man 2 movie, and now Sony is making sure that no one will build their own bootleg Iron Man armor.
Although, ironically enough, this game apparently forgot that its symbol is supposed to be a triangle now instead of a circle.
Oops.
Oops.
3.14159 martini lunch.
Get it, because Tony Stark drinks.
Power reserves coming online.
Too slow. All I've got are visuals and rapidly dwindling.
Basically, the excuse of the game to give you gradually your powers again is the Metro. Well, it's a more updated version of course, Metroid Prime. Iron Man got slammed onto the floor instead of a wall, and now he's regaining slowly his powers.
Rebooting takes some time.
Yeah. Punish me for being a genius, why not?
Yeah.
Ha. Again, I mean, the voice acting.
Okay, first of all, the interface and all. The HUD is it's a bit clunky, a bit intrusive, but it's much more intuitive in what it gives you. The controls are way better, especially in flying. This is a godsend. Finally, you don't have to keep pressing the dorsal button in order to fly. And this time, Iron Man actually has some melee move combats instead of just having to fire.
A Wii version.
Let me know when we got
Yeah, the HD version. All
Basically,
right,
no. My point is like, well, you know, the
the
reason
version
that
is worse.
no. My point is like, well, this gameplay style is similar to how the Wii version of the first Iron Man game
Okay.
was,
Oh,
in the
it
sense
makes
that,
sense.
yeah.
The dev team took what was best of the first game and put it here, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. And definitely what was better gameplay-wise was the Wii version.
Scrambled all passcodes.
Also, you get your items highlighted a bit better, and Iron Man has to do sometimes this extreme hacking minigame where you just need to mash the circle button.
By
Cool, I
putting
guess.
your palm on here, you are instantly a hacker, son.
Wow, I'll give Octopus and Krieger. At the very least, the hacking minigame was actually had to actually think.
Yeah. But anyway, now it's time for some shooting, so let me use this time to explain about our enemies, which is kind of unusual for this kind of story, because the Roxxon Corporation is a very interesting beast for the Marvel type of media in general, not just the comics, because very usually the behind-the-scenes kind of enemies, the ones that don't get involved too much, they don't really have like
Ah,
a major
frame rate.
important key villain figure like say Count Nefaria for Maja or Red Skull for Hydra. They don't really have that kind of leader figure, but they provide support for a very evil organization. They're clearly bad guys, that's for sure. But we never get involved. They never get dirtied. They don't get their hands dirtied immediately or on hand, unlike this apparently. And to be honest, their presence, there are some presence in the MCU, but aside from some billboard, the closest that there is that one of the shorts, the one in which Agent Coulson fights some guys in an oil station, and that oil station belongs to Roxxon, of course.
So yeah, better gameplay, better voice acting. Questionable graphics aside, this seems like an overall improvement.
It's unfortunately flawed still, but again,
Yeah.
compared to the two games we just went through, it is still a godsend and an improvement of things to come, at least.
It's still nice to see an improvement on the voice acting at least, because the voice acting in the first game was right down on par with the first SmackDown versus Raw.
It's like I
Yeah.
said though, it's amazing how much Eric Loomis can actually sound like an RDJ sound-alike. Like, I mean, he has his own distinct Iron Man voice, but here, he's definitely going for a Robert Downey Jr. vibe.
I forgot, when was the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon aired?
Oh, sometime in the early 2010s.
I think he debuted there at the very least, so I think it was a bit before still. In the meantime, I'll check the rest of the voice actors, because remember, Jarvis is a new voice actor in this game.
Alright, see, Eric Loomis. He's even
Also, the
coming.
Unibeam is a bit more manageable to use, and Iron Man also get to do some takedown animation to weaken enemies. The QT mashing is still rough around the edges, but it's fine.
Oh!
At least keeps some more variety.
Deal, this was actually Eric Loomis's debut as Iron Man.
Oh, it was?
Yep,
Weird,
Iron
I
Man
knew
2
that.
the video game 2010. He would later be in Marvel Superheroes 4D. That would be
And
a...
Marvel vs. Capcom 3, yeah.
Well, no, I was talking about Marvel Superheroes 4D, but yeah.
Oh,
and
sorry.
then, yeah, which is a ride, if I recall correctly. And then, of course, there was Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which also came out in 2010, the same year as this game.
So
And then
Marvel
finally
kinda,
came Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in
Oh, great.
2011.
So Marvel kind of did what they did like 2 years ago, more recently, by having Robbie Damon replacing Josh Keaton as the usual go-to voice actor for Spider-Man media, aside from the recent PS4 game, of course.
Kind of a shame about that, seeing as how people love Josh Keaton as Spider-Man.
True, but I also agree. But I also on the idea that Robbie Dim is a good substitute. But
What's-
anyway, Tony has to understand why the fuck we're getting attacked.
You know what's ironic is that nowadays Josh Keaton voices Norman Osborn of all characters.
And Electro in the PS4 game, don't forget that. But yeah, now instead we're switching to War Machine. The main selling point of the game is that you can control one of these characters. You can choose between each you want to control. At the beginning of each mission, you can choose to which character to do the mission. Mind you, the cutscenes do not change much, like one line or dialogue or two, but it's still nice to give the player a choice to put. And for my run, I will alternate one mission with Iron Man, one with War Machine.
Personally, I prefer War Machine's gameplay ever so slightly for obvious reasons.
It's easier and I've had more fun at the very least, thanks
Yeah.
to the minigun.
That minigun helps a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, as you can see, the characters have more armaments. In the first game, you only had the repulsor rays and a missile launcher. Here, at least, you have two heavy weapons other than repulsor rays, so it's much more easier to defeat enemies.
So, TOR...
Anyway.
Oh, sorry, go
Hold
on.
on. Unfortunately, this game is chock full of escort mission, which is one of the major flaws of it. Starting for now, you need to, to defend the tower while Iron Man starts to overload. Starts to download stuff. But the Roxxon drones will try to copy Jarvis AI because they're after that. So you need to defend it constantly. It so far it's fine, but later on in the game it becomes very stressful. Yes, Jova?
I was actually about to say, so to our audience are probably thinking, well, SCWRM, this game looks like an overall good improvement over the game. What could they possibly do to make it so that this is not considered one of the good MCU games?
Like I said, it's still not technically a good game, but if you played them in sequence like I did, this is still like a godsend. It helps that it's also very short. It's more similar to the first Iron Man game, so it's not even as long. It's a quick thing that you can do in one sit if you're patient enough.
That's both a good thing, but also potentially a bad thing.
One thing you need to remember, these licensed games were sold for $60 at launch.
Yeah.
Like, for $60, no. Like, for the price that they got it, the 10, 15, 20, I could still understand that. But unfortunately, a lot of people, had to spend out much more. Similar, like I said, similar to Terminator Salvation.
And that is why we will be judging it as such, a full-price retail game. And for a full-price retail game, this is...
Nowadays, the average rushed license game, the bad one, I mean, at least have the idea of decency to, lower a bit the price to go over usually the $40 mark. It's still a lot if you ask me, but at least it's a bit much more fair than in the past. And to be honest, in that category, we kind of got still a few good games, like the recent Terminator game.
Yeah, I know, right? And
mind you, it was the problem. The thing that shocked everyone is because it was made by the same people who did that god-awful Rambo video game back in 2013.
Maybe they did some soul searching all those years.
Was it
time
was
to
it
develop,
better?
actually. Yeah. The Terminator games, yes, it's actually probably the best of the Terminator games of the new era, honestly.
And that's saying something considering the range that covers. Oh, hey there.
Yeah, no, shut up.
But, yeah.
An interesting thing, you can also switch between melee combat style. It only changes the combos that you can perform, so...
Basically, my advice for this game, if you want to plow through this game, stick with War Machine. He has a lot better weapons to cover, more better range,
Again,
and like Tio mentioned, the minigun.
The minigun is much more effective against enemies of all kind.
So this Iron Man game is better when you're not playing as Iron Man.
It's almost like the
Megan.
movie itself worked better as a War Machine movie than an Iron Man movie.
Yeah, in fact, that was one of the main criticisms we had. It's like, well, Iron Man 2 should have just been a War Machine origin story about Rhodey helping Tony get off his drunken rear, and that being a subplot rather than the main driving plot. especially considering that idiotic scene where he poops inside his own suit for a party.
Boy, Pete.
A party of which he then acts like a monster, roaring at everyone for no reason.
And that is how the War Machine armor starts.
Yes, the thing that a lot of people were speculating about got a pretty disappointing debut.
Anyway,
I mean that'd be like if the Incredible Hulk started with because Bruce Banner forgot to.
Oh no, the
drink
building's
his-
sinking in Incredible Hulk style.
Tony. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that'd be like if the Hulk started because Bruce Banner forgot to go to the toilets.
Unfortunately, despite our efforts, the Roxxon Corporation managed to duplicate the Jarvis AI, which, let me tell you in the meantime, in this game is voiced by Andrew Chaikin, like I mentioned in the previous movie.
Which sounds a lot more like Paul Bettany than the last time.
Let me check in the meantime what else he did. Also, yeah, once again, blind playthrough and all.
Coming in.
Hi, Pepper.
He voiced a couple of characters in some. Oh, it was Max voice actor in the most of the Telltale 7 Max games. Weird.
I should try not to be offended, Miss Potts.
Thank you, Jarvis. See, Pep, this whole thing was to cover the attempted kidnapping of my butler. There was a massive data transfer during the fight.
They stole a backup copy of Jarvis. And Tony's doing the whole nonchalance bit right now, but trust me, he's worried as hell.
Hush, you. They stole Jarvis. Well, okay, a big portion.
Okay, yeah, it really does go to show how good voice acting can help a story out a lot better.
Don, what have they done to your face?
Yeah, and your boobs too, they reduced them.
But what makes Jarvis Jarvis is that he learns.
And your hair, they took away its color.
Who the hell made this design? The creators of the Pop-Up Ghost 2016 reboot?
Although they still made sure to have her clothes clinging ever so tightly to her for some reason. Oh god, that blank, dull, expressionless stare she gave. Yeah, that's a thing.
Not officially, but I know who would. General Valentine Shadow.
Oh.
Didn't he just declare himself emperor or something?
President.
Basically, we get introduced to a villain like this. The one of the people who got the identity of the super villain Crimson Dynamo. If you remember in the movie, one of the characters that was the Crimson Dynamo turned out to be the father of Whiplash.
He's dead.
So basically, the game used a different character who in the comics became eventually Crimson Dynamo to have him show up.
Cute.
That's nice. But we'll meet him, I think, in the next part. So see you for that.
See ya.
See ya.
Sure.
See ya.